So that's where the networking is coming into play. So, we've been consistently going to the meetings, consistently meeting new people, making relationships with vendors in different categories. And now we're in the point where, we've made good relationships and we have vendors that want to create a special package for us that we can supply to our couples. Which is super helpful because I think one of the challenges of being a blank canvas is that some couples don't see the vision of or they're overwhelmed maybe, and they don't know where to begin, especially if it's a destination wedding and they're a further distance, they don't have connections with vendors. So
welcome to the Venue RX. On this show, we document and share best practices around owning, operating, and managing world-class wedding venues.
All right, Karen and Janet, welcome to the podcast. Thank you so much for coming on today.
So much for having us. We appreciate it.
Well, I'm really looking forward to hearing your story. Can you share with us what your venue is named and what part of the country you're in?
Yes. Our venue is called Seashell Events. And we are a subsidiary of our Seashell Cottages, which in Old Orchard Beach, Maine.
Beautiful. So you said cottages, there's events. Tell me a little bit about, is it events, venue? Is it overnights? Give me a little bit of a picture of what the venue is all about.
Yeah. So it's actually all of the above that you just described. So we have 7 units total. We're a block off the beach, and the beach is 7 miles long. And so this is a vacation destination for many, many, many. And we've been in the industry of creating vacation spaces for people since 2009. And in 2019, we bought Seashell Cottages, which was a dream come true for us. There's a house on the property that we live at. And so we're very hands-on. And so we rent out summer rentals, and that's what we thought we were going to do. And Seashell Events morphed into an add-on after we had our wedding on the property, and everybody went, "It's amazing." So it's still accommodations. And what's nice about it with the events is that people can stay right on the property. They take over the whole place and kind of settle in. It's almost like their own little destination wedding that's just walkable to 7 miles of beach and all the restaurants and all the different activities and everything that's just right down the street.
Wow. What an experience for people. You get to stay, you get to play, to enjoy the space. When someone comes and rents there from you, how... I know they're getting the whole place, you said, but what about the access hours? Is there a certain amount of hours they get, or are people typically booking for weekends? What is the package like?
So for our wedding packages, we have 3 different options. That way people can kind of create their own, vision of what they want to experience. So, if they're in a financial situation where they need to be in and out, we do 1-day packages. But most of our couples really want to experience the whole, beachy vibe and just kind of hang out. So we offer 1, 2, and 3 night overnights. So it really depends on what they're looking for. But what we're finding is because people want to come to Old Orchard Beach anyway, and they want to experience the beach and be able to, decompress, that we're finding that people are staying 2 to 3 nights anyway. So because we're still in the new end of this, our first year is behind us and our second year is coming. We're finding that, people are gravitating towards those bigger packages. So we'll probably settle, I would assume, somewhere between the 2 nights and 3 night packages.
That makes so much sense, because when people are coming for an experience like that, I can imagine. I mean, I personally, I'm thinking empathetically, right? I wouldn't want to just rush in and rush out. I would want to spend time, enjoy, be there for multiple days. So before we kind of get more down the road here, I'm really curious, why events? Give me a little bit of background on the two of you. How did you get into the events industry in the beginning? And I'm also curious, so maybe you could weave this into the story. was the initial impetus real estate driven? Like, was it, hey, we're going to live on this one that we're going to, rent out, and it was more of kind of a real estate play, and then it morphed into the events, or was it not necessarily intentionally real estate?
Yeah. So when we bought our first rental property in 2019, it was to start just having 2009, having more diversity and just more ways to make money. I've always loved Old Orchard Beach. I grew up near here, and I just felt always good when I was down here. So it was a natural gravitational pull for me. She was new to the area, and has learned to love Old Orchard Beach, which she has her own story about that. But over the course of time, we knew that it made sense to add to our collection of rentals. So in 2014, we added another 3 units. And at that point, our youngest was finishing up school, closer to being done with high school. And we thought we really wanted to live down here and have more. And we looked at many, many options. We looked at hotels. We looked at, bigger properties. And we always had our eye on Seashell Cottages because it's adorable. It's beach. It's, the colors are aqua and white, and you go on the property and it just has this special feel. And we would just always say to the owners, if you ever want to sell. And I think they thought we were kidding. They did. And then the crazy story happened is that we got a little birdie whisper that it was going to come on the market. And we literally knocked on the door and said, we heard you're ready to sell. And they're like, yeah, we are. And we sat down and we made a deal before it even went on the market. And best thing that ever happened. They're like wonderful friends to us. And we still, even now, we pinch ourselves saying, I can't believe we got to own this. So how we did events, we never planned on doing events. And we decided after how many years? We were together for 14 years, and we decided to get married. Why? Well, you get a backyard wedding, right? Our backyard happens to be a big commercial property with wonderful green space that's a block from the beach. So that's what we did. We had our ceremony on the beach, and we had our reception in our backyard, which is now our event space. And when the vendors came in to set up, they're all looking around going, what is this place? Because it was just a quiet gem of a place that nobody knew about. And when vendors look around and say, you've got something here, you should do this, you start thinking, okay, if one person says it, no big deal, but over and over again as the process went through. And so we said very naively, let's just do weddings. So that's how we started adding weddings to our collection. So it was not a thought out process, but it seemed so natural because the property lends itself to groups. It lends itself to that vibe of the more the merrier. Everybody can spread out. We've got the Adirondack chairs. We've got the fire pits going. We've got the pool that's, very vintage. The cottages have a vintage feel to them. Like everything is just brings you back, back in the day when we didn't have cell phones to interrupt us and TVs and all those kind of things. So we're super happy that it's gone this route. We're just really excited to, share this with as many couples as we can because it is a special place. It really is.
Erin, you mentioned that there were some additional cottages, or there was an addition that you made. I believe you said 2014. Were those, kind of help me understand the context of those. Were those things that you built and you hired construction for and all of that?
In 2014, we bought a 3-unit building that is literally 300 feet away from Seashell Cottages. That's how we found that Seashell Cottages existed, because we would walk around with our dog and we would, be nosy neighbors and go check it out. And so we knew it's true. We knew very much Seashell Cottages existed, but yeah, we're literally sitting in one of our properties right now because our dog is over at the other property. He wouldn't like all this. So where we include this in packages for people so that we can accommodate between 18 and 36 people, depending on what their need is.
For overnights.
Yes.
Oh, that's incredible. That's great.
Yeah. Yeah.
So this is a really interesting, something I'm just fascinated with in the industry is seasonal venues. Because I'm assuming you're really like a hot season for you is during the summer. It sounds like, is that accurate?
Our season starts in mid-May.
Okay.
And it ends like maybe mid to late October.
Understood.
Yeah.
How, like, were you worried? Oh, here, let me ask it this way. Were you concerned going into this and starting to now offer it for weddings? Were you concerned that the seasonality would affect the profitability of the business?
No, we actually looked at it as this is going to extend our season. So here on the coast, once Labor Day hits, a lot of the families go back to school. So what turns into a weekly kind of rental turns into just weekends. And so we're busy on weekends in those soft-sided seasons like the June, the September, the October. And as in most parts of the country, June, September, and October are hot months for weddings. And so for us, it made sense to increase our profitability by offering weddings during that time when we don't have as many families coming for vacations, but it's still warm. Everything's open. You know, the temperature of the beach, of the water in Maine is the warmest in September. It's the best month to come to Maine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
So
anyone who's listening or watching.
That is the best month. And you can come and stay at Seashell Cottages now. But you know, we looked at one of the reasons why we decided to extend into weddings is because we can see a higher income by doing weddings because we're going to be open already anyway. Or everywhere events, all kinds of things. There she is. So always chime in somewhere.
Well, and Jay, I actually, before we get any further, I was curious, what is your professional background? Like, how are you integrating this? And later, I'll give you both a heads up. I'm curious about how the two of you divide what you do for the business.
We're still wondering that too. They're figure it out for us.
I love it. So what's your professional background?
I'm a jack. What's the saying? Jack of all trades, master of none.
Okay.
I've done everything from, real estate, owning an office, to managing Domino's Pizza, to being a supervisor for a marketing company, for about 10 years. And I had, at one point up to 225 employees working under me. And I did that for a very long time. And now my day job is I own Epoxy Maine, plug, where I love it. It's just creating art and tables, furniture, and I do a lot of bridal flowers. Brides are bringing me their bouquets, and so I've tapped into that. So that's where I'm at. So I've literally been in every type of field there is. I've scrubbed toilets for a living. I've cleaned houses for a living. And I've also been a supervisor in marketing for, several years.
So
a little bit of everything.
A venue does need someone in that role, 100%.
Yeah.
I'm curious. You said epoxy, and that is really neat. Like, you could do a lot of creative stuff for even little keepsakes, gifts that you give to couples. There's a lot of really cool things you can do with that. So that's a very neat kind of crossover piece between the two.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I'm doing is I'm double dipping there. And okay. So my son and I own Epoxy Maine together. I taught him how to pour resin, and we opened a business, and we just moved literally. We haven't even opened the new spaceship. We just moved our business to a much larger, better location. So we can definitely expand out into other areas. But that's exactly what I'm pushing is, we can do favors for weddings and we can do, all kinds of things, bridal gifts. A lot of people will order a tray. We can put the bride and groom's name on it with their wedding date, whatever people are looking for. But it definitely goes hand in hand where one is feeding the other and back and forth.
Hey there, pardon the interruption. I wanted to share with you about WEVA. WEVA stands for Wedding and Event Venue Association, and it's a brand new association just for venue owners and operators that we launched last year. It's been growing quickly since then, and we would love to offer an invitation to you to be a part of it. WEVA is an association that is purpose-built for venue owners and operators to provide community, education, and networking opportunities just for our industry. We have a number of different resources, including networking, co-working events, local meetups, and all sorts of different things. We will be having a large yearly event as well. We would love to have you part of the community, so please consider joining. We do have a link in the description below, or we will be linking it wherever you're listening to this. So please click on the link, check it out, and we would love to see you inside of WEVA.
And also so signature. That to me is something really beautiful about this series, the Venue Owner series, just in general, is because, we hear about some of the different backgrounds of some of the folks, and it's like epoxy meets wedding venue, and then you have really cool, unique custom gifts that you're able to give people. That's going to be a advertisement for your business that is in their house long after they're married. I think that's an
interesting little fact. Our first wedding we had on the property came because of Epoxy Maine. We called to book a class, and I ended up booking her for a wedding.
So you're a salesperson too.
Oh yes, I could build ice to a penguin.
Very cool. So Karen, help me understand a little bit more too. So are you doing tours, Janet? And then Karen, you're helping kind of once the weddings are booked, are you tag teaming everything?
It's all her.
Okay.
I am. So I've been told that I'm the taskmaster here. And so I do delegate when I need support. Janet, she jokes like she doesn't do anything, but she does. She definitely has her things in terms of like, if there's anything that needs to be repaired, she is the person. She will do that. And she is really good at fixing things that you look at, and you're like, okay, we're going to have to buy something new. And she'll have it fixed very quickly, which is a very important skill to have. That's why she says she's not the master of anything, but she actually YouTube is my best friend. YouTube is her best friend. I look it up and I'll fix it. Yeah. Before I pay someone else to fix it.
There you go. And a lot of times you have to do that, especially in the beginning, to kind of get things going.
Oh, for sure.
Tell me a little bit about the business. Are you using a CRM system yet? What are you doing for your marketing? Give me a little bit of a picture of kind of what the business looks like on the back end of things.
Sure. So for weddings, we're not using a CRM system yet. We just went to a system for our regular rentals, which is wonderful. This is the first year that we're using them. So we'll kind of see how that goes. Because we're looking at bookending weddings, in our spring and our fall market, with maybe a spattering in the summer. I haven't gone that route yet, but I'm open to it. Definitely open to it as we go along. In terms of marketing, because we've done so many different things in our life, we knew right away if we were going to do events and weddings on our property that we needed to align ourselves with people who were already doing events and weddings. And so we reached out to one of the vendors that supplied a tent and tables and chairs to our wedding. And we said, what do we do? Who do we talk to? And she steered us towards a networking group, which then turned us into looking into some networking meetings. And that, for us, and I will say this forever, that's been probably the best decision we made. Like early on, before we even knew if we really wanted to do this, we showed up at a networking meeting and introduced ourselves and talked to people who do this for a living. And we were met with just such warmth and true desire to like help us become better, which I was surprised. I'm still, waiting for someone to, punch me or whatever, but it hasn't happened every bit. It's been super helpful. It's been really refreshing to see that. And truly, it seems that people are really rooting for us to really bring this market to Old Orchard Beach, because there really isn't any venue like ours, in Old Orchard for sure, up and down the coast in this southern Maine area. We're truly unique and special. And I know everybody says that, but we just want to get the word out, that we have this really cool space.
A lot of times the uniqueness and specialness comes into the fact that there may be another venue that is similar in style or something like that, but it's in a different part of the country. You may really have a corner on that venue style for that area, which makes a really big difference because it means that you don't have a lot of natural competition per se. It's not, a lookalike venue that all is next to each other.
Yeah.
Talk to me about the process around getting your permit. Was there a permit? What's your local government like? Are they difficult to deal with? I talked to so many owners, so there's horror stories and they're really good, environments to do something like this in.
Yeah, because we were already an existing commercial property, we didn't have to get anything in addition other than having the fire chief come out and look at the layout of, it's an outdoor venue, it's a blank canvas. We have 2 ways out of the space. So there wasn't really anything that we needed to do other than have him come out, check it out. Say it's called a dance permit, right? A dance permit is something that you need in the state of Maine. And basically it just tells you how many people you are allowed to have, standing in your property. So they gave us that number and we were good to go.
A dance permit. Okay.
A dance permit. That's what they call it.
That's pretty neat. I'm learning something. I learn something every time I'm on the show. I love it.
Yeah.
So is that kind of like occupancy or is that,
No, it's just standing room, in the event space.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Or seated, like 2 different combos, like how many people you can seat. So not occupancy to sleep, but for the actual event. Yeah.
Understood.
Yeah.
You mentioned blank canvas. I know there's so many choices when it goes into choosing, are you going to do blank canvas, creative canvas? Is there a package, something like that? Talk to me a little bit about what you've created so far in terms of packages, how much access people get to the property, are tables and chairs included, catering, some of those details.
So that's where the networking is coming into play. So, we've been consistently going to the meetings, consistently meeting new people, making relationships with vendors in different categories. And now we're in the point where, we've made good relationships and we have vendors that want to create a special package for us that we can supply to our couples, which is super helpful because I think one of the challenges of being a blank canvas is that some couples don't see the vision of or they're overwhelmed maybe, and they don't know where to begin, especially if it's a destination wedding and they're, from a further distance, they don't have connections with vendors. So I'm super excited about having, packages that I can say, okay, so we have this relationship with this vendor and this is their package for tables and chairs. We don't have anything included in terms of tables and chairs at this point. But we're a moving vessel. So, as time goes on, if that's what we're finding people want, we may, include that in our package at some point. So right now it's the space with the accommodations, all the amenities, proximity of the beach, the built-in nightlife and restaurants and the experience that they're getting with their packages.
Like you said, I like how you phrased that. You know, you're going to be evolving as you go through this business to meet the needs of the market as well as the needs of your couples specifically, because they're going to come there. On the topic of your couples, where do you find your drawing business from? Is it primarily vacation style business, or what does your marketing look like?
That's a good question. We're on Wedding Wire, the Knot. We're doing some wedding shows that we're excited about participating in. There's a big wedding show that's coming up in March that we're super excited for. It's a 2-day event. Very, very excited to be, in that show because it's one of the biggest ones in the state of Maine. We're on Facebook, we're on the group pages, people who are looking, word of mouth. I mean, this one, because she doesn't stop talking, everyone knows that we have a chat. Everyone knows we have a wedding venue if they know her. So there's not a customer that doesn't come in my store at Epoxy, Maine and leave not knowing we own a wedding venue or an event space or summer cottages. I've had people even, message us and say, hey, I want to come take a class, but I need somewhere to stay. What do you have? And so we're booking them to stay over just so they can take a class. It works.
That again, leveraging that other side for the benefit of both. I love it. When you think about your ideal client, who is that? Have you thought about that at all yet? Kind of just narrowing that down?
I have a lot. I feel like we have so far. We seem to be pulling in families, people that are blending families together. So that kind of, unique, I think, because people crave that as they get older in life. They want to have things slow down and have it just be an event, And so we've had a lot of people in that category. And then because we're two women together, we're finding that because there aren't a lot of gay-owned venues, that we're a safe place. We've always we've held pride events on our property. We're very dedicated to letting people know that you come to our place and you can be yourself, and it's super important to us. So we're feeling like that's kind of I don't want to niche us into one category, but that's definitely a unique customer base for us that we've been noticing. And we were the first ones with a second wedding to get married there. And we're gay. So there's double. Well, that's what they say. I don't know. Nobody told me that.
I love that. That's what they say. You mentioned, so you were the second wedding there, and you mentioned that you're creating this feel, this safe space. When you look at other venues in the area, and I know you mentioned that you're kind of the one that's in that specific area, but when you kind of look a little bit broader, what sets your venue apart from other venues in the area?
They get us. They get us.
And that's super important because you're with them through the planning process. Is that correct?
Yes, we have an in-house coordinator who is our right-hand woman. She is amazing. She calls us moms, which is a separate story, but she's wonderful, and she's super organized, and we work together as a team. And I don't know if I'm allowed to use the word shit jobs. I don't know, but that's the tagline, is that if there's something that one of us doesn't feel comfortable with doing, we'll label it as such, and then somebody else will pick it up. And Megan is our person that doesn't complain about any of those jobs. We joke about it.
Well,
But
she's little, so we shove her under the house if something that needs to be done. But can fit under there, so we're just like, there you go.
Well, everyone needs a Megan, it sounds like, too. That's
right. But nobody else can have her. She's ours. Yeah.
Hey friends, Jonathan here. Just want to take a moment and share about Common Sense Events consulting packages. We are really excited to be consulting with a few more companies this year, and we've done it in the past successfully, and it's been such a blast. So this year, we want to take on a couple more consulting clients. Unfortunately, because of the venues that we currently manage and the intention and the focus that we have on that, we're only able to take on a limited amount, but we do have a couple slots for venues. So if you are interested, we have both 90 and 120-day programs available, or we can come in and partner with you on marketing, sales, operations, and help fine-tune any of the systems that are in those categories. So if you are interested in that, we would absolutely love to hear from you and see if there's a way that we could partner with you and serve you at your venue. Go ahead, fill out the link that is in the description in this video or podcast. You can also just send us an email at venues@cseventservices.com, and we'd love to chat with you. All right, back to the show.
But, I thought what sets us apart is, we're literally on, if you can picture a 7-mile stretch of beach and all the like fun stuff of, amusement park, carnival foods and pier fries. That's like a whole thing down here. We're right here. Like you can turn the corner and you can get anything you want. You can walk out on the pier. You can, walk for miles with different types of ocean. There's different sections of the ocean here that not a lot of people know about where, there's a lot of rocky coast in certain sections. There's more seagrassy in other sections. So we have like the backdrop for your wedding can be numerous things. It doesn't just have to be on our green space, which is another option. But you can have like a wedding, you can have a water background, but with a different vibe, depending on which section you decide you want to go and have your ceremony on.
As you're describing this, I can't help but thinking about some of the areas in Laguna Beach that are right, they're fairly close to where we are, but it's very similar. Cliffs, there could be a flat beach, there could be, the topography is varied enough where you can really get a number of different scenes, if you will.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
exactly.
You were mentioning how like your proximity, I'm wondering, and also the networking and kind of the community that's been so helpful. I'm curious, how do you engage with the local community to get involved and stay involved? Is that something that you're pursuing?
Yeah. So we joined the Chamber of Commerce. Actually, her business joined the Chamber of Commerce. And then Seashell Events did when we created Seashell Events. This fall, we had a ribbon cutting ceremony, invited the whole town. We had a great turnout. We did it up like it was an event. We had the tent and we had the food and we had, the pool was open and, people were milling around and we just escorted them through like it was their event. And we had a great time. It was a great time. So yeah, we stay involved there. We stay involved in the wedding world with joining NACE. We also went to Las Vegas. We went to the wedding MBA, which was crazy, but it was fun. Here's the thing about us. When we want to do something, we do it. So we're not going to just like kind of do it. We're all in. And so we know that when people choose our location for their wedding, they're going to have a wonderful time because we've been doing customer service since 2009. So that part is, it's fine. Like we're not worried about that piece. It's more just getting the word out. We just need to let everybody know that we're here because it's been an unknown property forever, which is crazy.
Moving that first, boulder, I guess you'd say, up the hill is probably the most difficult thing for a new venue. Once you get it going, it's I don't want to say downhill from there. It's good downhill. You know, there you can take some momentum. But definitely kind of hitting the sweet spot. We've seen a lot of success in working with the local community so that people start associating events with your place. And it sounds like that's what you're doing with Chamber of Commerce and even, you know, with the epoxy business, kind of creating the association and the awareness. In terms of other marketing, what type of other marketing platforms are you using?
Well, I think a lot of, you know, social media is number one. I mean, everybody is attached to their phones. And so we're linking arms with a lot of people in the event world and wedding world where if they've come to our house and, you know, they took photos for us, then we tag them, they tag us. So it's not just us putting the word out. We're linking arms with all the professionals around us and, you know, sharing other people's posts who are sharing our posts. And it's social media is like number one. Mm-hmm. Can't say enough about it. Even just, you know, throwing a little TikTok video or, you know, she's getting really good at the Instagrams and, you know, coming up with, you know, that's been our biggest thing is to get over the hump of learning because we're a little older, not old, but, you know, we're not 30 or 40. So, you know, having to learn all these different platforms, you know, there's so many. And so being on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, you know, all these different ways, you know, websites and different things is a lot for us. Like what could take the average person 2 seconds might take us 2 hours because we're sitting there going over it and over it until we figure out how to do it. So I would say that's number one.
Well, kudos to you for, you know, digging in and doing that and learning a new skill set. I mean, that's what it is. And a lot of times people, you know, they finished college or high school or whatever it is, and then they stop learning, you know, and
right.
And so
we do old school advertising. We had an ad in the Maine wedding magazine.
Okay.
And so we did put a nice ad in there. And so we're trying to do a little bit of everything.
Did you feel like you got a good return from the publication in terms of the awareness, or is it hard to tell?
It's hard to tell because it was just last summer, but I keep a magazine at my shop. And so again, when I'm talking to people, which I do all the time because I teach classes, so I always, I'm talking about it. I'll pull out the magazine and I show them our ad. This is our ad. This is my friend, you know, they own this magazine. And guess what? We're in it. And so I open right up to the page. I have it bookmarked and I show them the ad and I'm showing them the magazine. And it just makes us legit. You know, it just puts us out there in another category. You know, just seeing us in a professional magazine, and that works for us too. You know, even if people aren't, you know, calling us from the ad yet, it's okay because it's still a tool that we have, right, that we can share and say, look what we did, you know, and we'll continue to do that. So it legitimizes us and, you know, that we're not just a backyard wedding. You know, it's a real business and a real, you know, policies are in effect and we're taking it from there.
Totally. And that's so key, especially with a big purchase like this. Well, I am so excited to see your business continue to grow. I know you said it's year 2, but I want to follow along. I know, you know, everyone is going to be, you know, when they listen and when they hear this, they're going to be following along with your journey. You said you are on Instagram. You said Karen's getting pretty good at that. Maybe a tip here or there. Where's the best place to follow along or even reach out if people are interested?
Sure. Yeah. No, we're on Facebook, Seashell Events. Instagram is Seashell Cottages Events. Our website, we have a website, which is SeashellEventsMaine.com. I know we have so many different combos. They can reach out. We have many ways to contact us, and we'd love to chat with other venue owners. That we're doing that here in the state of Maine. Like going to conferences and connecting with other venue owners, I don't look at them as being competitors at all. I think we can learn from each other. And if somebody wants a barn wedding, then they're not going to pick Seashell Events and vice versa. So I feel like, we can all work together and help each other out.
But the best way, come stay with us. You come for a weekend, and what happens at the show stays at the show. And we promise you that. That's our motto. What happens at the show stays at the show.
Janet's hired. Janet, I mean, you're amazing. You are like, you've got the sales pitch.
I'm just following this one here. This whole wedding thing it's her baby. And, this is what's going to help her retire from her other job. And so this is her shtick. And man, to see people come on for a tour and see her light up, I mean, she's just ready, she's glowing. And there's nothing I want more from my wife than to see her happy and not bogged down, and to be able to concentrate on one avenue will be awesome.
Very cool. I know that as you get the traction, that's going to happen, and people are going to see the passion and, the excitement that you have behind it. So that's very cool. Well, Karen and Janet, thank you so much for coming on today. This is great. And it's so neat to hear how you started. Like, I think it's encouraging for a lot of people who may be dreaming one day of owning a venue, starting a venue. And so I really appreciate you sharing the story of how you got started.
Thanks so much for having us. It's fun.
Thank you so much.
Hey friends, Jonathan here, and I wanted to share about Common Sense Events consulting packages. If you are a venue owner and you're struggling with your marketing, your sales, your operations, or maybe there's just, you're new to the industry and you want to really have a leg up and get a jump start on getting your business going and not make a lot of the mistakes that oftentimes people make, the mistakes that we made, frankly, when we first started, we would love to chat with you and see if there's a way that we can serve you. Our team has experience working with over 10 venues all across the United States, doing consulting. We've hosted hundreds and hundreds of weddings at this point, and we know what it takes to be successful. If this sounds interesting to you, we would love to chat with you. You can either reach out by filling out the link in the description of the video or podcast, or you can just email us at venues@cseventservices.com, and we would love to chat with you and see if there's a way that we can serve you. All right, back to the show.